Hi boys and girls, Mrs. Blackburn here for another lesson. Today we're going to be discussing homographs. All right, so we'll begin today's lesson. The learning goal, students will understand that homographs are words that are spelled the same but can be pronounced differently and have different meanings. Our success criteria. I will learn to identify homographs by comparing and using them correctly. Okay, moving on. Let's look at a sentence that has some homographs in them. A meter equals about 3 feet 4 inches. You can clap a poem's rhythm to determine its meter. A driver checked the parking meter to see how much time remained. So here you can see that there are 3 sentences with homographs in them. The word meter, all pronounced the same way, spelled the same way, but has 3 different meanings. In the first sentence, a meter equals about 3 feet 4 inches. Meter is used to measure length. In the second sentence, you can clap a poem's rhythm to determine its meter. That's measurement of poetry and music. In the third sentence, in the final sentence, meter is actually used for a payment for parking. So that's an example of a homograph. Let's take a look at some more. We watched the old elephant lumber across the field. There is a stack of lumber at the construction site. So the 2 homographs are highlighted. We have lumber in the first sentence. This sentence, when we use the context clues, we can tell that an elephant is large. And so we know that that word lumber means that it's moving in a very slow movement. It's not a quick or a fast movement. We watch the old elephant lumbering, so it's slow and large movements there. The second one, there's a stack of lumber at the construction site. This is in relation to wood. So these are 2 very different meanings for the word lumber. Okay, let's look at the next sentences. After the flood, a cleanup crew had to haul away a lot of refuse. My brother is so picky, he will refuse to eat his vegetables. So here's an example of a homograph. Now, both words are spelled the same, but not only do they have different meanings, but they are also pronounced differently. In the first sentence, the cleanup crew had to haul away a lot of refuse. That word is in relation to garbage. Now, the only way that we would know how to pronounce that would be by using, again, the context clues. We know that there was a flood. We know that there was a cleanup crew. So that helps us know that this is going to be the word refuse, not refuse. The second sentence, we have my brother, he's being picky and he's not wanting to eat anything. So I know that this means refuse. He doesn't want to do something. So using the context clues and reading the words around the word really helps us understand which homograph to use and how to pronounce the word. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to do here for an activity. So we'll zoom in here a little bit so we can see this. I have a couple of sentences here. Start with the first one. Okay, the first one says, a player may bluff her opponents into thinking she has a winning hand. All right, a player may bluff her opponents into thinking she has a winning hand. So what we're going to do here with this activity is we're going to look at the sentence and look for a homograph. So this is going to be, again, a word that may have more than one meaning and can be used in another way. Well, I think that bluff could probably be that word. So I'm going to highlight that word, bluff, okay? And in this case, the word bluff is used because this player, if she is playing a game, I know a lot of times when you play a game, you don't want your opponent or your player to guess what you're doing. You want to try and trick them, correct? So I think bluff in this case means to kind of trick. Well, I also know that bluff can be a land formation. So I'm going to use the word bluff in a sentence that way. And I went ahead and did that before we began. So you can see here, this says, the view from the top of the bluff was amazing. So you can see how I went ahead and wrote this homograph in a sentence using the other meaning. Okay? So this is what you're going to do on your puzzle piece activity in Schoology. I'll show you another example. Here's the next sentence. The next sentence, zoom in here. The next sentence says, a sow can give birth to 12 piglets. A sow can give birth to 12 piglets. So I'm looking for the word that could be a homograph. Okay? Well, I know that when I was reading this word here, I had to think if it was sow or sow. So this must be my homograph right here. Okay? And I knew it was sow because this word piglets gave that away to me. That was a context clue for me. And I know that when we're talking about piglets, that's a sow and it's not sow. Now, when you're doing this activity in Schoology, you may have to use a dictionary or a thesaurus to help you look up these words, because when you do that, it will give you the other meanings and then other definitions so that you'll know how to use those words in a sentence. Okay, so this is my word. Now, this is a sow, as in a piglet. So the other kind is so. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in a sentence here. You can see I did that. It says, you can sow these seeds in April. You can sow these seeds in April. Now this type of sow, you'll need to highlight these on your puzzle piece too. In the sentence you wrote, you can sow these seeds in April means to plant. Okay? So, again, just to kind of review what you're doing on your puzzle piece, you will be looking at the sentence that you have been given. Look for the homograph. Look for the homograph. You'll highlight it. And then if you need to, you'll look it up in a dictionary or a thesaurus so you have both meanings. And then you'll use the word in the second meaning in a sentence and then highlight that word. Okay? I hope that you do well. If you have any questions, make sure that you reach out to your teachers. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening.